You
quite
probably
honestly.
live right next to him. Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be crazy.
You walk outside in the morning and you see Stephen King like across the street. Hey neighbor.
Hey.
You got any sugar? I'm out.
Yep.
Healthcare horrors. Murder. Holy cow, we're back with another episode of Healthcare Horrors. It's been a while.
It feels like it's been forever.
Oh my gosh. You're more comfortable with this than I am. My heart is racing and I'm sweating already.
To be fair, we recorded 256 episodes of A Beer with Atlas.
Oh my gosh.
And your podcast, Healthcare Horrors, destroyed ours with with actual downloads and like full listens. Like, it's crazy.
It's true crime. It took off. On that note, I am Ashley. I'm a brand specialist at Atlas.
I'm Rich. I'm the special guest this time.
Yes, welcome. Welcome back. Last time you were on the podcast, it was also during Halloween.
Yep.
And we talked about the Pennhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania.
I remember. Yeah.
Yup.
I'm excited you invited me back for this one. One, that you revived it, and two, that you invited me back, because this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. Mm-hmm. I have been there I've been to this location multiple times. Mm-hmm. They have a fabulous meatloaf, if you ask Mr. Steve Ryan.
Okay.
So aside from all the ghost story and everything else, it is a fun place to visit.
Yes. Well, you brought up the topic, and I couldn't say no. So if you're new to this podcast, usually we talk about healthcare professionals who murder or take advantage of their patients. But for the Halloween season, we usually talk about haunted hospitals or asylums. Mm-hmm. But in this case, we're going to bring in some more pop culture and, like you said, talk about a place that's dearer and more near to your heart because you spend a lot of time in Estes, Colorado.
Absolutely.
So Today we are talking about the Stanley Hotel in The Shining.
So to be fair, I can tie this back to healthcare professionals. We have nurses working at the hospital in Estes Park, Colorado right now.
Ooh.
So they could go there and have the meatloaf or do the ghost tours or do whatever there. So I can tie it back a little bit.
I like how you keep bringing up the meatloaf.
He talks about it all the time.
Well, if anyone has been there and if you've had any experiences, definitely let us know. But I brought a surprise for you.
Oh, all right.
Because you are a beer guy.
I am. Oh, you have a cooler and everything. Look at this.
Prepared.
And to be fair, there is a beer in Estes Park called Red Rum Ale. Is this what it is?
No, I wish.
No, oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, no. So, I just got a pumpkin ale.
Pumpkin.
You've probably had the Dogfish Head.
I have not.
Really?
Can I have one during the podcast? Is that okay?
Why else would I bring it on here?
Is it cold? It's cold too.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Okay, so there's that. But then I also saw these pretzel stouts.
I have had this.
Is it good?
I haven't had a pumpkin beer yet.
Okay.
So I figure spooky season, you got to have a pumpkin beer,
and
right?
I love the little pumpkin guy that's on the can.
He's quite fun.
He's cute. I am going to have a pumpkin ale as well, but I wanted to bring an option.
Oh my gosh, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about the hotel first and like how The Shining and how that all originated?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a good place to start. And goodness, we have a lot to cover. But hold on. Beer first.
Pumpkin ale.
I think I've had this before. I
Brown
don't remember.
ale with pumpkin. Okay, so it smells like pumpkin. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. It's like spiced pumpkin.
I'm surprised you've never had it before.
And I love Dogfish Head. Like that's a great brewery. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I did see a pumpkin ale that was from Boulder, Colorado, and I don't remember the name of the brewery, but I was like, he might have had this already. So
probably.
All right, here we go. We're going to get into the history of the Stanley, some of the ghost stories, and then, yes, we'll jump into The King and The Shining. So I'm going to start with the predecessor to Freelan Stanley really quick. An American settler and hunting enthusiast, Wyndham Quinn, 4th Earl of Dunraven. The 4th Earl of Dunraven sounds so metal.
It kind of does. Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Wait, his name is Wyndham?
Yeah. it's spelled Windham and then Wyndham. So Wyndham, Wyndon.
Oh, Wyndon.
I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever. We'll call him the 4th Earl of Dunraven, though. Okay. That sounds cool.
Such a crazy side note. There was a fantastic restaurant in Colorado, in Estes Park, called the Dunraven for a while.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, it was great. It's no longer there though.
Oh, It's probably because of this
guy.
Probably
because, yeah.
So he traveled to Estes Valley in 1872, where he was mesmerized by the beauty of the mountains and streams, which equated to a quote-unquote sportsman's paradise. And I'm not sure how one legally goes about acquiring land like that in the late 1800s, but he did. He controlled anywhere between, 8 to 15,000 acres of the land. Yeah. The 4th Lord of Dunraven realized he can't preserve all of this land just for hunting forever. More settlers were coming in and discovering the land. And people were building homesteads. Even before the famous hotel we're about to talk about, one of the first hotels in that area was called the Estes Park Hotel, or the English Hotel, and it was built in July of 1877. So the increase in tourists in the area drove Earl of Dunraven away from Estes, and behold, he sold a chunk of land to Freelan Stanley in 1908 so that Stanley could build one of the most lavish hotels of its time, at least in that area. All right, so I'm assuming we've all heard of the Stanley steamer. Freelan Stanley and his twin brother Francis were the founders of the Stanley Motor Carriage Company. So they didn't come from wealth, but they definitely became wealthy from this. Unfortunately, in 1881, Stanley fell sick to tuberculosis, like so many others in the time. It was a long road of recovery. In 1903, Freelan and his wife Flora visited the Estes Valley, and his time there just completely restored his health. So from that point on, he and his wife vowed to return every season, and to ensure they could, they opened the Stanley Hotel in 1909.
I can vouch for this. I feel better when I go there.
Yeah, there's just something about the fresh... I don't know. I'm a firm believer that if you spend time outside getting natural vitamin D, it does wonders for your health.
Yeah.
100%. So in the off season, they would return home to the East Coast and the Stanley Hotel because it didn't have any heating system for the winter. So it was just a seasonal hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, it did cost $500,000 to build.
Whoa.
At that time.
At that time.
So I don't even know how much.
That's a shit ton of money at the time.
I mean, can you imagine bringing all of the materials out there where there's nothing like that? So it's the most elaborate, enormous structure with ornate architecture, electricity, bathrooms, running water, and uniformed staff. And it was a spectacle among the valley in Estes.
Still.
Yeah, it still is. Yeah. When you see it, it's beautiful.
It's stunning how it sticks up there on the mountain, and it is stunning.
When I did visit there, and our tour guide told us that the Stanley was originally yellow before they painted it white.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
interesting.
So apparently it was yellow.
All right.
Yes. All right, and from there it opened in 1909, and we're just gonna hop right into the ghost stories.
Fast forward 70 some years, right?
No.
What?
No.
What? It was haunted before Stephen King got there?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. All right. So we obviously know that 217 is the most haunted room, most popular room. I actually have, when I went to Colorado.
Oh, you have a tattoo.
I got the key, and it has 217. That's kind of hard to see now, but it says 217 on the key.
You can request that room if you stay there.
Yes.
It is consistently booked, though.
I can imagine.
Yes.
All right. So the hotel opened in 1909. In June 25th, 1911, there was a chambermaid named Elizabeth Wilson, aka Lizzie, who was going to clean room 217. Now, there was a huge storm going on that night, and it knocked the power out for the entire hotel, so she had to clean the room by candlelight.
Oh boy.
That's already spooky.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So once she got to room 217, she opens the door. It's dark. It's quickly illuminated by lightning from the storm outside, and then just completely dark again. So she needs to light more candles. And as soon as she strikes a match, then boom, the entire west wing of the hotel explodes, which sends debris flying a half-mile away.
What?
Yeah.
This
You
is
didn't
real?
know this?
I didn't know
Yes.
this. No.
Okay, so during the explosion, Lizzie falls through the floor, and she's found on the first floor with broken ankles, and she is in a coma, but she did not die.
Oh, okay.
Actually, nobody, at least that I'm aware of, nobody died from the explosion.
What was the explosion from? Like, do they know?
So since the storm blew out the power, the hotel's backup was to turn on the gas throughout the building to use gas lamps. And unfortunately, Lizzie found out the hard way that there was, in fact, a gas leak in room 217.
That'll do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, of course, that part of the hotel was completely restored. And once Lizzie recovered, came out of her coma, she actually returned to work at the hotel until she was 90 years old.
Wow.
She passed away in 1950. So it is said that her spirit is the one who haunts room 217.
Oh.
So it's not like anything like there wasn't a murder that happened in there.
Yeah, that seems very benevolent, not mischievous. Maybe she's more mischievous. Who
Yes.
knows? Maybe, right? It doesn't seem violent.
Right. So if you do stay there, the reporting hauntings, everything particularly happens to the males, it seems like, if you stay in this room. So a lot of males have said that they've had terrible nightmares. Foreshadowing.
Yep.
Lizzie Wilson was not a fan of sin. So if you were not a married couple and if you were staying in the room, she didn't like that unmarried couples were sleeping in the same bed. So there's been reports of like cold spots in between couples in the bed, or they might feel like an indent or like someone sitting on the bed. There's been reports of just sounds of like scurrying around, like someone's maybe cleaning the room. Or if you leave the room and come back, maybe your suitcase is unpacked or it's repacked.
Weird.
And some guests have reported the smell of gas in that room. Who knows what Lizzie's up to in there. And I guess President Roosevelt also stayed there.
A number of presidents have stayed there, yeah.
I don't know if they've had any experiences, but who knows. So really quick, the carriage house on the property is also reported to be very haunted. I guess here people feel a darker presence. So in the hotel, if someone ever like passed away in bed, be it a murder or suicide, the caretakers would take the dead person and their deathbed or the mattress and store it in the carriage house until they could probably like officially get rid of it, call the police. I don't know.
Oh.
So maybe it was the presence of all of the deathbeds that invited a darker presence to loom in there. So there's been reports of maybe a creature with claws or glowing eyes in there, or some caretakers have just reported a dark presence, like they're not alone. I saw some stories that a noose or a rope appears to them. In room 401, I guess there's an entity that likes to steal things. There's been reports of wedding rings specifically going missing. 428, there's a ghost that wears cowboy attire, and he particularly likes the ladies and will try and give them a kiss.
Oh.
That main grand staircase has been known as like the spirit vortex. And then on the 4th floor, there's reports of children being heard or seen up there. I don't know for sure if any children actually died in the hotel, but the 4th floor was said to be the lodging area for female staff members and their children, and nannies would take care of them there.
Okay.
And that's actually, we didn't even talk about our personal ghost stories, but I took a ghost tour there, and I did get a photo on the staircase of a boy. And I will show it to you later.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't showed it to you?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I have seen, and that is very common because I've seen many photos. When you first walk in, that staircase is awesome. Like, it is beautiful, but they have captured many spirit looking anomalies that you cannot explain on that staircase.
It's so cool. Have you experienced or seen or captured anything with the Stanley?
Okay, so yes and no. I've done the ghost tours and all the kitschy stuff that you could do, or what. It's a lot of fun.
You got to do it.
It's fun. It really is, and there's a ton of history that goes with it, which really interests me. But my sister-in-law and her daughter and my son were in the carriage house and experienced weird things, doors slamming, footsteps that shouldn't have been there, like things like that. It was definitely something that she's kind of a skeptic and was definitely like, nope, I can't explain what this is. It was spooky.
Yeah. I think also near the carriage house, I remember seeing they have a little pet cemetery on the land there for the Stanley's pets or something. So
yep. Yes. Yep.
The concert hall is also another building that's supposedly very haunted. One of the spirits is named Lucy. I guess she was a younger girl. She didn't die in the hotel, but I guess she ran away, and her body was found in her sleeping bag in the concert hall. There was also Paul, who was part of the cleaning crew. He died in 2005, but I guess he had a favorite couch in the concert hall, and people would see his ghost sitting on his favorite couch. And if you're in there after hours, he might tell you to leave or tap you on the shoulder. So fast forward, in 1939, Flora Stanley passes away, and shortly after she passes, Freelan Stanley passes away in 1940. So both of their spirits have definitely returned to the Stanley. They stay there. Guests have seen them in mirrors. Stanley specifically has been reported to be seen in the bar. And then Flora, who was a pianist, she frequents the music hall. Sometimes she'll have conversations with guests, whether it be in the hall or in their rooms. And she's around if you smell roses. Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think he's pissed off that you see him in the bar area, that everyone that goes there just remembers Dumb and Dumber?
Oh, gosh.
We landed on the moon, because that's where they filmed it.
Yeah.
And it's still there on the wall. And so it's at least once a day, somebody will be like, we landed on the moon.
Oh, gosh.
And then they walk out of the bar.
Yeah. I wonder how he feels about that.
I don't know.
And speaking of Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey stayed there. Well, I think the whole cast stayed there. Yeah. In 1993. And Jim Carrey specifically wanted to stay in room 217. And he only lasted a few hours, and he was out. And he never told anyone what happened. I wonder if he was egging on Lizzie and maybe he was being a little too goofy, but I guess he didn't even want to come back to the Stanley.
Well, maybe she didn't have a sense of humor. I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Once we get to the 1970s, business isn't booming quite the same anymore. It's a large hotel, a lot of upkeep. It kind of needed rejuvenated. And there's a particular man and book that did just that.
Stephen King, 1974.
Here we go.
I'll take you back in my personal history. So I read It. That was the first book I ever read. Now, I had experiences. My dad ran a movie theater when I was a kid. I remember him telling me early on that I couldn't watch Cujo. I remember when he ran Cujo, and I couldn't watch it because it was a scary dog or whatever. And there was a little diamond cutout on the door, so I could see and I could peek up in. And I saw the part where Cujo's trying to get in the car and slobbering all over the car. So I get it now. I understand. Yeah. I don't want to watch this. fast forward to 1986, and I heard that Tim Curry was going to play Pennywise in a TV show called It. And I wanted to know what this was. And so I went and found the book. I was in seventh grade. Yes, I was in seventh grade in 86. And I read that book. And that was the first book that I ever read where I was scared. I had to put it down. And it's like when you're watching a show and you're watching it like you're covering your eyes a little bit or whatever. No, I had to put the book down. Whew. It was that scary. So yeah, let's talk about when he stayed there. So King and his wife Tabitha stayed there one night in 1974 near the end of the season. Now, today it's open season.
Yes.
You can all year long. But they would close for the season because it would snow up there, and it snows a lot. You're right at the base of the Rocky Mountains, and you can get 2 to 3 feet of snow in an evening. Like it snows a lot there. They were the only people there, and I don't know. I couldn't find they put him in room 217. I don't know if that was a joke. I don't know if he requested it.
Yeah.
There's no backstory to that at all, but they put them in room 217.
I wish we could ask him.
If I could ask one question, I think I would. That would be the question I would ask. Was that an accident or not? Because without it, we wouldn't have all these other books. We wouldn't have all these other movies and characters that he's created over the years. Not that he isn't a great writer, but The Shining really kind of kicked it off. Well, Carrie first, right? But then The Shining after that. So he stayed in that hotel room in 217, and he had a nightmare about something chasing one of his kids down that hallway. And when you go in the hallway, it's not the same as what you see in the movie, but it's similar. It's very similar, where you get the octagon patterns in the carpet, and that there's actually a chicken place that's right to if you look to the right of the carriage house there, there's a restaurant, and they serve chicken and beer, and it's a lot of fun. But if you go downstairs to the bathrooms, on the landing as you go downstairs, they have some of the carpet from The Shining on the floor right there.
Okay.
So, and they're playing spooky music and whatever. Of course,
you got to lean into it a little bit.
Right. So yeah, so he stays there in 1974. The year I was born, weirdly, but that's so that's kind of fun. He didn't necessarily like the movie,
right?
And I get it. I understand there were some, and we can get into the differences or whatever if we have time. But I think the essence of it though was he was battling alcoholism at the time. He was struggling with himself personally at the time or whatever, and having kids. And that really is the root of The Shining of the book itself is, the place is haunted. Yeah, it might be evil. Yeah, I mean, all of these things. But it really is his own internal demons kind of taking over his body and taking over, in his mind or whatever. And so that's where the book came from.
It was a good book. I read the book. I really liked it. The movie, very different, very artsy. They just leave so much out. Yes. But
they redid it, and he had a do-over in what year was that? I wrote that down.
The TV series?
The TV series, 1997.
Okay, yeah.
With the guy from Wings. If you remember, he played Jack Torrance.
Okay.
The TV show, comedy or whatever, but he played Jack Torrance. It was closer to what he wanted. It was fine. Honestly, if you're going to watch that, just read the book.
I liked the series more just because it stayed more true to the book.
Yeah, I mean, they are two completely different. They're the same story told in different ways.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned the concert hall. So the concert hall was, he had got up at one point because he couldn't sleep, and he went downstairs, and he went to the concert hall because there was a bar in there. The bar was closed, and he imagined, okay, if the bar was open, what would I do? What would happen? And so you kind of saw that play out in the Kubrick version of, the bartender talking to him who really wasn't there in the first place. And, and Jack Torrance falling off the wagon and, and all of that.
Yes.
And which mirrored what happened in the book. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that they retained some of that, but then change it just a little bit. As for King himself, I learned so much doing research back on him that I didn't know before.
Yeah.
If you had asked me what was his first book, I would have had a good guess, but I would not have got it. It was Carrie.
Okay.
And
that was his first book?
That was his first
really?
book. Yeah. And so as I dug into it more, like, why did Carrie make such a difference? And, when he wrote it in 1974, why did it make an impact on the readers? Because it was about bullying. It was it was real life people in real life scenarios, and it was about bullying. And then he just layered on top the supernatural. And that's what he does with every one of his books, is he puts real people in real life situations, and then he layers something else on top of it. And I think that's what makes King special in his writing, is you can relate to all those. I related to the kids in It. They were the same age, close to the same age as me.
Yeah.
When I was reading the book, but then you layer in Pennywise and a spooky, or whatever, and then he can build from there, which I thought I can relate to that, and that makes it special to me. But then after that, he started the Richard Bachman books shortly after that. Okay. Which is super interesting too as a writer. Like, why did he create a pseudonym? Why, that type of thing. Yeah. One is because he was writing too much, and the publishers were like, no, people aren't going to want to read all of these books if you produce them all in one. So there's a rule. You can only produce one book per year. You can only publish one book a year. So he said, that's fine. I'm going to create this pseudonym, Richard Bachman, Richard being his childhood author that he loved, who wrote crime novels and stuff, and Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive, the band, which he loved. Okay. So that's where Richard Bachman came from. Fun. It is interesting though that the first Bachman book was called Rage in 1977, and it was about school shootings. Oh man. And yeah, you can't find that book anymore. They don't publish it. Gotcha. But then into the 90s, then The Stand was 1977, Night Shift was 1977, The Long Walk, which is just coming out now in movies. Right? Mm-hmm. Was a Bachman book in 1979. Huh.
I honestly didn't know anything about his pseudonym until I'm learning something new.
There you go. Yeah. Dead Zone was 1977, and then Firestarter. Firestarter was the Drew Barrymore movie. Mm-hmm. It was after the success of Carrie, virtually every one of his books got picked up for a movie. Yes. And so he quit his job as a teacher. He could write full time. They actually considered at one point moving to Colorado full time, but they decided to stay in the Northeast.
Yeah, I think they did have a house in Boulder, him and his wife, and then they just decided to go stay at the Stanley really quick before it closed for the season.
All right. Yeah. I assume he still has something. Maybe I would imagine. Yeah. I've probably got houses all over the place.
You probably live right next to him. Wouldn't that be crazy? That would be crazy. You walk outside in the morning and you see Stephen King across the street. Hey neighbor. Hey. You got any sugar? I'm out.
Yep. You need to scoop the snow off your sidewalk. Yep. Yeah. So about Bachman, the last thing I thought was interesting was, I don't know if it was more the workaround for the one book per year kind of thing, or after he had published a number of books, Carrie and Salem's Lot and The Shining, and he had success with those, he probably had, and again, he was struggling with alcoholism at the time, is it just me? Is it just my name? Or do people really like my writing style? And so that's why he created the pseudonym of Richard Bachman to see if people would still buy it. Sure enough, people still did. Until
he did some A/B testing.
Exactly, yeah. Until one bookstore clerk named Steve Brown ruined it all for us. Realized that, hey, wait a minute, this seems similar, and started digging in, went to the Library of Congress, and found out through the publisher that same guy.
Why you gotta be a narc?
Why you gotta do that?
What does it matter?
Right? Why do you have to do that?
Rude. So going back to the Stanley and The Shining, why didn't Stephen King like Kubrick's movie? And I would say we're going to get into spoilers probably, but at this point, if you haven't seen the movie yet, like...
There were a number of differences. And I think one of the things was that Kubrick was such a... he was so groundbreaking as a director that he wanted to do it his own way. And King was so groundbreaking as a writer, he wanted it his own way. So I think you instantly had roadblocks there, right?
Yeah.
Some of the differences, though, between the two, the tone is completely different. Completely different.
Yeah.
Where the novel is about addiction and family terror, and the hotel has a possession, right? For the most part, but it really is it has a different feel than the book itself, and than the movie, I guess. I'm sorry. The movie is more less heart, more alienation. It's more about Jack Torrance and his alcoholism and that type of thing. But the hotel really taking control of him.
Yes.
At that point. I struggle because I love Jack Nicholson. I loved his Jack Torrance. But at the same time, I love Jack Torrance in the book too.
Yeah.
Like he was damaged. He was still a writer, and he was desperately trying to fix himself. And this was wrong place, wrong time for him.
Yeah.
So it was a perfect storm of bad.
Yeah. What did you think about the movie versus the series that came out?
That's a good question. I watched the series. It was fine. At that point, though, just read the book.
Yeah.
It really would have got you more than what you were looking for. It didn't necessarily. By that time, I'd read the book enough that I had visuals in my head outside of the Kubrick film or whatever. And I get it. They tried to do that, and it was fine. But I would rather just live in the book at that point. I
need to watch the series again. Just for this podcast, I rewatched The Shining, and then we watched Dr. Sleep. And I need to rewatch the series because just everything kind of started coming back to me. Like, oh yeah, in the series they actually included the big lions covered in snow
that came to life
and attacked Danny, and they never had that in Kubrick's movie, and just things like that. And Dick Halloran had such a big role in the book, and he still had a big role in the movie. Yeah, but he was a little more in the series, if I remember right.
Yes,
but
Scatman Crothers played Dick Halloran, who is amazing anyway. And it was so much fun to watch him in that role, but you almost feel cheated a little bit because he was so great as an actor at that time, and you didn't get enough of him. He arguably one of the best characters in the movie, of how he played that and how much he cared about. He understood what was happening to Danny. He understood, what it was like to shine and who Danny was.
Yeah.
So much more Danny in Danny. Is that right? Is that
Tony?
Dang it.
Red Rob.
Yeah. Danny isn't here, Mrs. Torrance.
Yep.
You got so much more out of that in the book that made him so much more special, which I think was explored in Dr. Sleep.
I was thinking when we were watching Dr. Sleep, it would be interesting if one of the bad guys that was out to get all the kids that shine, if one of their names would have been Tony. And that would have been a really cool callback to Tony's not an imaginary friend or whatever. It's actually another person that shines in his head. Wouldn't that have
interesting.
been cool?
That would have been cool. Yeah. It wasn't filmed at the Stanley in Estes Park.
Yeah.
It was filmed on a sound studio in the UK. They used the outside of the one. Oh, I wrote it down here.
It was somewhere in Ohio.
The Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood is where the exterior shots, but the rest of it is Elstree Studios, where they filmed Star Wars and Star Trek and other E.T. and the other movies like that. So what I did find interesting, though, as I was looking through all of this, was the use of geometric shapes is uneasy. It's hard for you to watch on screen, for people to watch on screen.
Okay.
And so that's why all of the like the carpet and the walls, and there you find geometric patterns.
Like
and
unsettling.
It's unsettling. It's disorienting, and so that's what it makes. Even in the like, just when he's riding his tricycle through the hallways, it's spooky. Never mind the soundtrack, which is awesome. But,
oh my gosh, yeah.
But it is unsettling. Like it doesn't. That's not something that people your brain can comprehend in a pleasing way. Mm-hmm. It's more unsettling.
Okay, so that was a design choice on Kubrick's.
Totally
Cool.
Stanley Kubrick was an absolute genius.
It's like walking into a time warp when you walk into that hotel.
Yes.
It's so cool. I did stay there one night because I went to 2 concerts at the concert hall. It was just so cool being there.
It is a fun place. Mm-hmm. And never mind, Estes Park, Colorado is a beautiful town to visit. You're right at the base of Rocky Mountain National Park, which is just, it's amazing. If you like hiking at all, it's a fantastic place to go. Can we tease the rest of them? Do we know yet?
So in the next episode, I'm going to have recruiter Donna Chisler on here, and we are going to talk about Mick Pike Mansion, and it's in Illinois.
She the one that has is a nurse that had experiences herself and stuff. So
yes, she's had some experiences for herself while working at facilities. So I'm excited to hear her stories.
I can't wait for that part.
For sure. So
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, tune in for that. Rich, thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
This was good. I'm not sweating anymore.
You don't be nervous at all. No.
It's the beer.
There we go.
Red rum. Red rum.
He isn't here, Mrs. Torrance.